This is Rizzo Chessman, leader of the Euro Coalition and founder of the Humanist Institute. I'd like to just give a brief summary of the findings of some important research into human trait theory that suggests that we are embarked on a dangerous, perilous course as a human race, in that some degenerative effects, which are quite apparent and widespread seeming on the planet, whether it's a deviance of tolerance for what are traditional values and modes of being in expression, being replaced with what were traditionally perceived by saner minds as not a progressive alternative or choice, rather the reverse, the opposite, reactionary, if you will. Whether it's a taste of music that we hear on the radio, even you consider, the great black and white music we used to hear in the 70s, the disco or whatever, being replaced by rap lyrics with a lot of obscenities and profanities and sick-sounding voices that just don't express caring or human emotive wellness, and that this is oppression, in fact, on the human mind as it's being imposed on us all here, is something that we are to accept, whether it's the messages of sexual deviance to replace traditional thinking on all the billboards and much of what you see on TV all too often, because that as humans are made normally, it isn't something that they can endure without suffering when this kinds of dissonance come at them, and to be doing this in a way to suggest that you have the higher moral ground because you're equal to the others that want to do this, smacks of a lack of, well, I could talk about decency and sanity, and well, that's it. You see, it's not a matter of morals and sense of decency and rightness. It is simply a matter of sanity, and that there is such a thing as human sanity in those that are endowed with it, or who can think more clearly as to what is ideally human, and across the board, from the perspective of what humans ideally aspire to, and as I say, are ultimately those that are best in this respect endowed with sense of aesthetics, beauty, creativity, or capacity for actual, real, genuine, loving care, rather than just feigning. And you'll find, in fact, that those that have the best related such human faculties and capacities, or that ultimately it is those that are best at the cross range of it all, that it tends to come together in those individuals that are best endowed with it, and have throughout history provided us with the best of whether it is, as I say, the beauty as we've all revered what the great the spirit of the Irish, where it's you see how Christianly the folks are considered there for good reason. You see, there's Martin there, and that's why. it isn't something they just put on you. You know, you get the sense of people that you can see want to be right and good and Christianly, and the folks in Europe, wherever has been most best endowed, the gals in America, arguably most of all that come from the beauty of the spirit of a Melanie Griffith or Jessica Lange or Meg Ryan or Michelle Pfeiffer or I love Leanne Rhymes as she was at her best. Come on, what a beautiful Christian spirit, for Christ's sakes, something to live for, to take care of these souls and etc. And what are we replacing this with? Now I'm not, of course I was born in Tanzania, and I can tell you that there's more sanity back there at that time, because if I asked the folks around there, you folks want to see Whoopi Goldberg up on the TV screens? Oh, do you want to enjoy some of the Leanne Rhymes singing? They weren't bigots. They were nice enough. They loved to see something from the West that really gave them a look at that beauty, and it's very beautiful. It's not who they are, but they love their own. They don't. It doesn't mean that they deny their own. But now they're being asked to consider those folks that give humanity its best of all in these areas. They're asked to consider that there's an unfairness because it's white privilege to have them, and that why not replace what's on the front covers of the magazine that gives us nourishment, gives us a sense of care, something we'll have, with the Whoopi Goldberg type image. That mainly appeal to a lot of it's widespread that there's sexual deviance, that has been even Laura Bush, the president the first lady of the former president George Bush Jr. says that as it turns out the man doesn't enjoy his vodka. Look at my drift, and she's now a desperate housewife because it's not what he's into, and in fact, like many of his mindset, you consider that as Senator Cruz recently testified, that the monies for the likes of what Senator Cruz points out is a violent record organization, the BLM movement, the Black Lives Movement, it's actually called, which have terroristic ideations, and he points out that along with what Bush Jr. says, Bill Gates and Bezos and a whole range of these folks are all supporting these folks financially, and he says, I'm wondering why could they look white, and that's the point, you see, that a lot of the folks that look white aren't really of what we call white sanity, because they are in fact, just as you have sexual deviance, you have race deviance, to a large extent it goes hand in hand. You take Stephen Fry, who's very articulate, British gentleman and a comedian, and very articulate man. He speaks against the hypocrisy of the church and their how they go about selecting their people, and he says, keeping out what are normal people, and mainly focusing on sexual deviance. But at the end of it all, he does say that the country he loves most isn't one that you would think he relates to in Europe or whatever. Instead it's Uganda, as he does say he is. He has come out as a sexual deviant, and that often means there's race ideations that would be you'd use the word freak to what is that would normally be freak, just meaning it's an aberration or a deviance to the extent to that extreme extent, and so much of these ideas of replacing what was normal folk can live with come from these mindsets that are not normally formed, and they're happy to admit that, but they don't want any criticism or any negation of the fact that well, if that's what they want to do for everyone, then that's the way it is, because they feel they you know they're in control of the situation in their own minds. As remember Alexander Haig once said about thinking he was about to become president, that didn't last too long, because he the president wasn't dead yet. and that's what I'm saying. We haven't died. We're still here. And no, you're not taking over with these ideas, because they're not humanly sane. We can't live with them, and ultimately, nor can mankind generally, in whatever is human, in all whatever beings are on the planet, because it's the dissonance from it finally sinks in, and we find it's just we're involved in evil, because when people tell you that they feel as a result of being deviantly formed in their mindset and how they relate and how they think, etc., that they go out and look for others that are not part of the humanists these folks are supposed to have come from, and instead go elsewhere to other members of the planet and suggest to them, we could fit you in here as to take over from what's here, as just claim to be equal to us, and that's good. And so from the perspective of merit, whether you do deserve to be cast with Meg Ryan in that movie, or to be heard on the radio instead, or to lead on important policy matters, or in areas of resource allocation. The problem with doing that is that whenever you're involved with what would then be evil, when you're acting unfair, we call it evil. Of course, there's times when it's an accident at the moment, but I'm saying when you're categorically, as a way of life, involved in taking from others that have more entitlement and merit in actuality, based on what their human issues and faculties and ideations and record in this respect, and what it is they can achieve and aspire to and do in a Christianly sense. When you do that, you degenerate in your own mind. God doesn't let you do that. Whoever it is that's great, He doesn't let you. Anyone that involves themselves with evil ultimately finds that what human faculties they were engaging with start to wear away, and it becomes, you think you're becoming more of the extreme of what people get involved in evil, or like a witch-like man. That's what you start to feel you're identifying with instead, in what's forming or what you're engaging with that formed at the base level, because a lot of what is on the earth, that has happened to and happens to over the time, with all the the effects of endowment and degeneration from all the ravages of nature and all we've lived through as a race from the north, etc. So there's a danger in getting in with the Trudeau mindset, because when he tells you not to be fair to others and to claim more for yourself, etc., you'll find a lot of that's coming from a mindset that is fundamentally hateful to those that are of merit, and you pick up on that because that's part of what he's teaching, and that actually results in a degeneration of your ability to think sanely, to care for your own in fact, to where ultimately you'll find that this wickedness, which drives this mindset, with as a result of the deviance across the board, is an evil towards all that we must reject, and that folks will find that they're better off in their areas with their own folks, working in care in a fair manner, without folks competing in a space where ultimately when one outdoes the other, if it's not on merit, there's constant conflict and constant degeneration, ultimately, and this is something that has gone far enough now, I say, and it's time to call a spade, call it what it is. That if someone is happy enough to consider that seeing Meg Ryan in a movie is more of a thrill than Whoopi Goldberg. We don't have all the same endowments in what beauty we bring over nature, what we radiate in that respect. Be honest, for Christ's sake. Come on. If you do prefer Whoopi Goldberg, take her movie and watch it on your channels. You can get, you have your own out, but don't replace what everyone else, just out of a sense of maliciousness, because that fundamentally, for these folks that have this deviance, there's a development of this need to level the playing field, which is to cause degeneration, deviance in others, because they're unable to live. This is what Dr. Nolan of the Manhattan Institute found in his research, that a negativity forming core personality trait in what he called the green type at the core tends to want to level a playing field and be jealous of others that is unquestionably, because that it's in a situation where they don't have right to begrudge others simply because they're doing so in a way of what would be unquestionably thanking on the matter, rather than a sense of what would be a feeling of having been left out of what it's one of those things in nature that we have to live with at that point. So ultimately, I'm suggesting that we can better preserve what is preserved and saved to this point, to an extent, and do better in our way forward of being fair in the way that can keep humans continuing to form in a way that is unfettered and unmolested by people who want to deny them their ability to love one another, care for one another, enjoy themselves, be around one another, enjoy their culture, and all of which is arguably, when we're talking about the best people, is above what some cultures teach stoning of women that they feel have been unfaithful to someone they're maritally contracted to. Is that the same? Is that culture as good in that respect, and one that teaches Christian understanding? There's some cultures that teach infanticide and bride burning or tolerate too much in any event, and hell, or some even as a state religion, or promote the worship of cows, and you see people killed over consuming beef. Is that culture equal? And when you listen to rap music, well, my preference for Dean Martin is that equal? And why the hell do I have to put up with it every time I go to the goddamn bank here, or I'm at the coffee shop? Why the fuck should I put up with your shit? That prefer shit on the radio to what is good enough music for what is a good enough mind to pick on, rather than all the profanities and the stupidities that come out of harping on the mind in a way which is clearly dissonant. Clearly, you're trying to abuse someone with that. If you aren't it, keep it to yourselves. And it doesn't matter how many you are, because ultimately, there's such a thing as the tyranny of the majority, and it doesn't matter how many you are. If you don't have the right sanity to judge for others who have better sanity than you do, I suggest to you that you curtail what is the doing of evil, because that is what it is, to try to prevail in that situation, or to try to encourage others to join in with you in doing so. This is Rizzo Chessman. Well, have a nice day.